Hey there, thanks for tuning into Duck Bricks. I'm Chris, and I am at Brickworld Chicago 2025, where I got a chance to sit down with my buddy Sean, aka Bricks by Mind, as well as LEGO Ninjago Designer Dimi, as we hosted a Ninjago panel, where we talked all things about the show, the sets, the development process, and everything in between. Of course, I wanted to have the chance to share this exclusive Ninjago panel with all of you, and so without further ado, let's transport ourselves over to Chicago and join me for the LEGO Ninjago 2025 panel right now. Okay, thank you so much everybody for being here for the official LEGO sponsored Ninjago panel at Brickworld Chicago. Who is excited? Thank you all so much for showing up. We have some crazy secrets to share, a lot of really interesting, in-depth discussions with an actual LEGO designer, Dimi here, flying all the way from Billund, Denmark to be with us. And of course, talking all things, oh yeah, let's give this a applause. We'll be talking all things the show, the sets, and everything in between. If you're walking into the room, you might have heard a little bit of a sneak peek at an unreleased folk song, The Island Whip. I don't know if any keen listeners heard an unreleased variant of The Weekend Whip, so maybe we'll have to talk to the fold about getting that released someday. But as we jump in here, I'll introduce myself. I'm Chris, aka Duck Bricks. I run a LEGO-themed YouTube channel and focus a lot on Ninjago and original themes. I literally grew up with Ninjago since 2011 and been here all the way. So it's good to be here.
Yep, same here. My mic done?
Yeah.
There we go, first panel. I'm Sean, I run the YouTube channel Bricks by Mind, and just like Chris, I do a ton of Ninjago stuff. I've been collecting Ninjago since I was 9 years old, and I am 23 now, which is crazy. But yeah, I cover all things Ninjago. I make mocks, I review sets. I love the theme, I love everything about it.
And of course, we have Dimi here, who's actually prepared a little bit of a presentation because he has been working on Ninjago for years and years. I will let you talk through it, but some of your favorite sets were probably designed by this Ninjago legend right here, a literal Ninjago legend. I'll let you jump in.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm Dimitrios Stamatis, or Dimi, as most internationals call me, for simplicity. I've been with Ninjago for 9.5 years now. Plus a month. It feels like an eternity, but it looks like an eternity, but it doesn't feel like it, I would say. It's been a pleasure, an amazing journey with an amazing team, in an amazing theme, full of personal expression, I would say. So we can, yeah, that's me, in the picture. I come from Athens, Greece. This is where I grew up, somewhere on the northern parts of it. And then I studied on, this actually, I was going to the studies, but this is the only picture I have of something I made once upon a time in the early 90s, I think.
I see that Aqua Shark's cockpit.
Hey,
that's a classic right there.
Yeah, and I actually saw the set somewhere on the used but complete sets being sold in the, in the exhibition. Yes, things start there. Back in the days, I was like, oh, I would like to be a LEGO designer without knowing even where LEGO comes from. There was a complete unknown back then, no internet, nothing. There was just love for the brick. This is the beautiful Syros Island where I studied for 5 years, design and engineering. And it was a big part of learning and getting into the path that ultimately led me to Ninjago. This is me with some of my sets, and then we can see a list of, I think all of them, if you continue. So my journey, previous one, my journey began in 2016, and when I joined Ninjago, an opportunity came up during the Hands of Time development to create a set just as I was joining the team, which is a rarity. Most of the time it takes some onboarding and some time to get into the production cycle. And I was tasked with this one to find a way to make an exploding egg, of all things. And I'm really happy with how this one turned out. I think it's a very cute, small set that I'm really proud to this day. And the picture there is my little sister, the fifth of 5. getting the set for the first time. I believe it was in the Leicester Square store there, very close to its opening.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Then we continue with the Sons of Garmadon season and the Ninjago movie. Also a lot of love on that set. The Speedboat took quite a while to come up with the idea. There's I think 3 or 4 colleagues that tried before me. And I went a little bit unconventional with a lot of people actually objecting at some point because they felt that it might be too complicated for what it is. Then I did my first dragon. It was Stormbringer, which I really love. The uniqueness of this one was the first time that I understood the difference between doing something for art or personal preference and actually making a good toy. I had a beautiful dragon head, I had like a posable neck, but one of my colleagues was very keen on getting the shooting function in the mouth because that's how I actually got hired. I made a dragon that was shooting things from the mouth. So I said, you did it once, you can do it again. And then I had to compromise, of course, to get the functionality in. But I think I'm very proud because that was again a step towards a career that ended up being long and hopefully appreciated. Then another favorite of mine, which is Firefang, LEGO Ninjago Cobra. I can't say much about it. It was just a really fun project to put together from the ground up. Then we have the Legacy Stormfighter. Right?
Yep, Starfighter.
Yeah, which was a remake of an older set, a big challenge. This one, because I just needed to do better than what the previous set could offer. The design was done by Leonardo Lopez back then, so I had a guideline, but the function was a brain teaser that took me 2.5 months to figure out. So the solution with the string and everything that comes with it is a very long journey. Up to the last day almost, where I figured out how to lock the wings open. Walking down the aisle of LEGO bricks, and on the last aisle, after trying everything I could think of, I find the one piece from my childhood that could actually get it done. Then we have one of the Chinese festival sets, the first wave, and it's actually the only set I've done that is not Ninjago. It looks like it though, very familiar. Then we go to the Temple of Madness, Empire Temple of Madness. I was talking to the guys the other day, and it feels like the one thing that I always forget I did for some reason. I loved working on it. It was a very fun architectural expression. It was the first time I ever tried my hands on a Lego-based architecture. So yeah, it's the uniqueness of this one is that I always forget. It's the child that always is around but never remembered. Then we have one of the first set that actually came from me. As there's no brief, I made the dragon for myself. Back then creative lead, Cherry, really liked it and said, "Oh, I want to get this into the line. It makes sense. We're doing a night-themed season, so we need to get that dragon in there." So he pressed. Initially, the marketing team back then was a little bit reluctant. They wanted a car or something with wheels because that's a fun play. But he did push for it, and after, of course, making the appropriate modifications and considerations for what the age requires, it came out, and I'm really loving it. It's actually one of, I think, the only things I have displayed at home outside of the boxes is this dragon, and of course the egg, which was the first like a vermilion dragon. And then comes the time for a staple in any LEGO Ninjago designer's life cycle at work, where you get to do your own bounty or remake, or at least do a bounty. So I had the good opportunity of doing the legacy bounty, trying to stay as close as possible to the original expression of it, and I'm quite proud of how it turned. Then we have another opportunity that presented itself, which is the Overlord Dragon, the Overlord Dragon form. It was a small set and a quick turnaround, but I'm happy that we had the chance of revisiting something people wanted and we couldn't offer earlier. And then we go to the island of the Keepers. Island of the Keepers, yes, which was also an interesting environment to create. I got inspiration from things like Indiana Jones and all those old adventures with traps in the middle of the jungle and all this stuff. It was a fun one to work on. And then we go to Seabound, where I had again the pleasure of doing another dragon, which is one of my passions, and doing one for Nia, or actually Nia in dragon form. It was a difficult time to develop because I had to do a lot of it at home due to the pandemic. I also had to get a colleague, Theo, to bring me bricks because I didn't have any at home. I was living in a very small apartment. So I was making orders. If you come by, can you bring me a bag of this, and this? So it has its own place in my heart for the challenges we went through together, and of course being like a very long and elegant dragon. Then we go to more recent stuff, the Ninjago Temple Dojo, which was also fun. Again, I like surprisingly doing architecture. It's not something I do. Like if I was building at home, I probably would very rarely do architecture. But it's something that I really enjoy. My mom is an architect, my grandmother was an architect, so any expression of a building has been like a nice for me. The challenge with that one, most of it I think I did quite fast. The challenge was making it not to feel like a Viking structure. A lot of my colleagues were passing this. It doesn't look very Ninjago, it feels very Viking. And of course it was probably the color of the roofs there. And then we go to another very cool set, another great villain from Ninjago, a great opportunity to do something unique design-wise. And that's the Overlord, the Crystal King. And this one started with my colleague Nick coming up with the idea of doing a centaur, just for change because we haven't done it before. And then Leo did a little bit of design on it, and then I took it over. I added the wings, I added all the fancy stuff. It felt that at some point that one was before Easter, where I had to finish the first loop of designing it and having the first checks that we go through. And I felt that I cannot do it. It just felt that no matter what, it was too big, and I couldn't fit the requirements that I was given for this one. I worked through it during vacation, and surprisingly I managed to do something it felt impossible. Like 2 weeks ago it felt like there's no way to get it on budget, on all the requirements. And suddenly I could afford wings, I could afford everything that I could imagine to make this thing impressive. And then we go to the Dragon's Rising era. I had the pleasure of, during the Master of the Mountain, the end of that production cycle, I had the chance of getting over and taking the connection between the Ninjago project and the TV show. So I've been doing a lot of feedback on scripts, a lot of storytelling talks with Doc and Kevin and with Wild Brain. It's one of the proudest moments where we came up with how Dragon's Rising should look. What can we do to keep Ninjago to its core and make it better, make it feel more complete, more unique. So that was like a very intense 22 maybe. And then we have some of the sets. Because of the focus on the TV show part, I skipped the first half of the year, so I didn't have any sets to have to do the deadlines and rush through the cycle. So I got the opportunity of working on those two sets, the Elemental Dragon versus the Empress Mech and the Zane Spijitsu race car. And I feel that those might be the most refined and attention cared for sets because I had double the amount of time to just do it, try to optimize every part that I could. And I'm really proud of how they look. I think it's a very unique dragon and a very unique function for the car. And then we have Eagle, which is another favorite. It was very interesting. I think the first sketch for Eagle came from Nikolai, our concept artist. It was a little bit darker, a little bit more gritty because we were trying to figure out what those master dragons were. but I'm really happy with how it turned out. Really unique. I like the fact that it has a hat and a sword. And then we go to something very recent, which is Thunder Fan. Another great opportunity to work on something unique. I love the color scheme. I love everything about that set. The expression that it has, the chains hanging. It's a very, again, my personal preference is just getting the opportunity to be expressed on those. And then we come to Ninjago Legends, where we recently released, and again, like the Blue Battle Dragon, this is again an expression of what I could do with the Lego bricks, what I could make as the idea of a statue which we haven't done before, making a dragon, a big dragon. Again, it's a lot came from my heart and what I like and what I enjoy, and I wanted to show that to the world, and hopefully people will appreciate it and enjoy it as well.
Awesome. Well, first of all, let's give a big round of applause to Dimi for what a impressive period. And it is so perfect because, as you all know, next year is Ninjago's 15th anniversary in 2026, and you were saying you joined the team in 2016, so you'll be celebrating your 10th anniversary working on Ninjago next year for the 15th, which I think is just so perfect. I mean, I'm so impressed by all the sets you've worked on, and we have a lot of questions to ask about the development process. I'm sure you're curious how that works in terms of show design and set design, but I figured we could start off with maybe just telling a story about working with the Ninjago team, and maybe each of us could share something that was like a special moment or something very cool about just being involved with Ninjago. I mean, I have to say, like, I'm very grateful to be here and to be able to talk with somebody like you who's working on the sets, and then also be able to work with some of the folks on the show. And I have so many fond memories of just working with incredibly talented people who really pour their heart and soul into Ninjago. So I'd love to hear from, I know, Sean, you've met Doc Wyatt, and
yes,
of course you've met I think all the designers for Ninjago, right?
So now, I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to hear if you have a story or something to tell about working with the Ninjago team, meeting them. Maybe we can share that and start off.
I don't know if I have any specific stories, but yeah, I mean, that first time in Denmark, 2023, I was just blown away by how friendly everyone was. It caught me off guard to hear that people watch my videos over there, because, I don't know, to me, I'm a kid in New Jersey talking about Lego sets in my basement. Like, I never expected that, but, getting to talk to you guys, like, after a set comes out. So, like, I know Lee, who's one of the newer members of the Ninjago team, who I think his sets are incredible. He'll talk about, hey, I watched a bunch of reviews online, and this is the feedback I saw, and I incorporated this into the model. I know the Source Dragon motion he did, that really impressed me, because there was so many, like, I saw things in that model that I had mentioned in other reviews, and that other people had said about previous Dragon sets, and it feels like he had taken all that and put it into that model. And I think it's really amazing the way the Ninjago team works so closely with the fan community, and like you guys are watching, your ears are open.
Yeah, I can say that for us, it's the calendar year is mostly based on the releases. Our life revolves around the feedback. That's the way we get energized. That's the way we get to experience what we give into this. It's the only way. Like this convention, getting to know you guys, getting the expression of the enjoyment, even the criticism sometimes, because that's the only way to. We work on a desk with bricks, and that's about it. And then the only way where we connect with the world at this point is when things come out and we get to see the comments, everything, and that's energizing, especially when we see appreciation. And for me, my motivation is many times when things get rough, and sometimes you don't have deadlines and things don't work out, and you try to force it, is that we do this so someday somebody can say this was my favorite childhood memory, my favorite childhood toy. So that's where everything comes from. Yes, it's a job, it's a personal expression, but at the end of the day, it's what that impact is. Whom do you teach things? Ninjago has been very good at exploring design principles. We might not communicate it, but we try to keep how do you split colors, how do you compose something, because this is an education that is very rare, you don't necessarily get it. But with exposure to something that's nice looking, that has rhythm, that has proportions, maybe some kids can get into the habit of identifying it, of feeling it, which I think is very important in a world that things are just done to be done. Adding a little bit of nuance, I think, is very important.
Very well said. I mean, exactly what we want to hear from a Ninjago designer. I mean, on my end, I just want to give a big shout out to the creative team behind the TV show as well. We've got a chance to really spend a lot of great time with people like Doc Wyatt and Kevin Berg. And I mean, I just have the funniest stories to tell about Doc Wyatt. We just had dinner with him pretty recently,
yes.
But Doc Wyatt, if you don't know, is one of the writers of Ninjago Dragons Rising. He joined in season 11, and he's just the most creative guy you could ever meet and talk to. And I think one of my favorite memories is you could be sitting down over dinner talking to Doc about literally anything. And it doesn't matter what the subject is, but Doc will all of a sudden, he'll go silent, put his hands together, kind of like cock his eyebrow, you know? And he'll lean in and go, just drop the craziest Ninjago lore. So like Doc will lean in and go like, the Source Dragons are polyamorous, which to be clear is not an actual Doc Wyatt quote, but I was just coming up with something, I can't actually spoil the show. But it's stuff like that where it's like mind-blowing pieces of lore that Doc Wyatt will just drop just to see your reaction and see what you think. And you're like, is that canon? Well, it is now. And it's just so cool to be able to talk to somebody that creative who comes up with all these great ideas for the show. And I'm really excited to announce that next year for the 15th anniversary, we're actually going to have Doc Wyatt and Kevin Berg, both writers of Dragons Rising, here at Brickworld Chicago doing a panel, autograph signing, meet and greet, and even teasing some future stuff for Ninjago. So I'm really excited for that.
About my experiences with the Ninjago team. What comes to mind as the first expression of what this team is about? I remember when Leo was moving to another project. He was the last of the old guard. I joined them, I grew up with them, and then everybody left and I was left in Ninjago by myself, in a way. It was so emotional because, you know, passing the mantle in a way, but the important thing that, even now I'm tearing up, there's such a continuation, such a good vibe, that everybody who has been in Ninjago, everybody who comes in Ninjago is a family. And it's not just a corporate way of saying, oh, we're all a family. It's actually how we support each other. Yeah, every day, it's just, I couldn't have been blessed any more than this. That's all I can say.
It's really awesome.
Yeah, and for it's so nice to be in the position of speaking, like talking storytelling and giving ideas, and then, oh, we can tweak this way, and then Doc goes on a huge arc of, oh, I can do this. Yeah, it's just, I'm here because I want to show you guys how much passion goes there and how appreciated this is. And to have this opportunity is because of you. Like, I've been here in Ninjago because of all of you.
Well, something I find really amazing about the current state of Ninjago these days is that everyone working in the team, like, you are fans of the franchise. Like, Ninjago is not this new thing LEGO's trying to pitch anymore. It's this long-running IP that's unlike anything LEGO has done before. Like, the closest comparisons like Bionicle, but at this point, Ninjago's even outlived that. And I think it's really amazing that the designers, the showrunners, they were fans before, like, they were a part of the process. And I think seeing like actual fans become a part of that process is really amazing. It just shows how strong this IP really can be.
Absolutely. I mean, speaking of the development process of Ninjago, let's get into some interesting questions because I'm sure a lot of folks are very curious. What exactly does that collaboration look like? When you're designing sets for something like Dragons Rising, you talked about working with the writers and trading ideas with them. How does that work in terms of figuring out what sets go into the show, the story year? Do you make models first, then pitch them to Doc and Kevin, who put them into the show? Do they come to you with ideas? I have a lot of questions about how that works, so we'd love to hear more about that process.
So the story begins with the team figuring out what's cool. within the LEGO environment. We come up with some ideas, we explore them. What would be cool, what would be an object of desire, what would be the new weapons, what would be the new look for the ninjas, interesting locations, the bad guys, all this stuff. Then that gets through a series of tests, and we say, okay, this is what kids understand, this is what's easy to decode and follow. And that is where we communicate with the writers. They are on board, we're going towards this direction, and figure out the story. That was mostly in the past a little bit more concrete. Now we do communicate with them throughout the process, especially with Dragon's Rising being a longer arc. It's not just, oh, this season we do something, next season we do something else. So we want to have that continuation. Of course, we don't want to block something that they had in their mind. We want to work with it, expand on it, and especially if it's been set up, then it makes sense to utilize that opportunity to make something that feels more planned and cohesive. So we onboard them, they start writing as we start developing the sets. Sometimes we have a very good idea of what could be. The Source Dragon of Motion was something we wanted to do. A big red dragon, why not? And it's already in the lore by that time. So sometimes we have something to show them, sometimes they have to wait a little bit, so they write the character arcs or the main story outline, and then we start feeding in how the sets work in the world. We also sometimes take cues from something they wrote. We want to do this set, but maybe it doesn't fit, so we can change it. The example that I gave a few days ago was Wildfire. She wasn't a character. We knew that we wanted Sora and Ari to be the eyes of new people in the world of Ninjago and explore it and learn about with them. And Doc and Kevin came up with Wildfire. It was a very unique character, a very interesting character, and then was embraced by the team, and we made the design, and we had the Heatwave as well, the dragon, to go with it. So there is always a cross, like the opportunity to work within the timelines. We try to have as much coordination, cooperation, and co-creation as possible.
That's awesome. I mean, it's always so interesting to me and to us as fans to watch the show and wonder how exactly things came to be the way they are. I know one little bit of interesting information we were chatting about was we always see sometimes there's things in the show that either don't make it into sets or are prominently featured but we never actually get to see or until maybe they're revisited legacies, like something like the Overlord Dragon. But one question that I've always had is, in Season 9 Hunted, there was a lot of focus on the battle wagon that Mia had built to go up against Garmadon. And I always wondered, was that ever going to be a set? What happened with the battle wagon?
So it was supposed to be a set. There was back and forth. There is always a lot of considerations on how many vehicles you make, how many things you need to fit in a specific, like Ninjago has like 20, 25 sets or something like that per year. So we need to see what makes sense from all aspects. Time frame, time-wise, what can be done or can't be done, what the TV show needs. Sometimes we have to expedite some development to help the TV show get started and design. So there's always things that move around. Even some stuff has been in the past, as I said, or when I did my first set, there was something else in progress. It was almost done. And then they felt that it wasn't the best option to go with, so we did something new. So there's hopefully very rarely, and we try to keep it that way, but sometimes you have to readjust for different reasons. Maybe another project is doing something very similar, and for them it's more important to do it there, so we try to navigate, and especially if we have the creativity and the capacity to find another way, then we will probably, give them the way to do their thing, and we can do something other cool.
Absolutely. I mean, I think the cool thing about that is on the flip side, you then have some incredibly talented mockists in the community, like even Sean here, who will come in and say, hey, well, I want to make a battle wagon, so I'm just going to make it with my own pieces. And I've seen so many different models of stuff like that from the show, where you really can energize the fan community, where even if it didn't get made into a set, that's the beauty of LEGO. You can pretty much build anything you want out of it.
That's the quest. Like, we do things that go in a box, but the idea of the LEGO brick is to actually do your own thing. We have some standards, we have to do some things because that makes a good experience, a good product. but ultimately, Lego, the core of what Lego and the Lego brick is take it apart and make it your own. Try, it's important to learn how to try stuff, not be afraid of making mistakes. We make mistakes all the time. Just embrace the basis of having something that is defined. I have that as personally, I draw, I do stuff, I try to sculpt, but I struggle to start. Like the white page is my worst enemy. So what Lego gave me, even when I was a kid and later in life, is the fact that there's a set basis of how things connect. So you have that as the basis, and then you can do whatever you can imagine.
Absolutely. That's, again, the beauty of LEGO, and perfectly said by a LEGO designer. Switching gears a little bit, I think a very unique perspective that you have is that since you started off with Hands of Time, you've really been a part of designing sets across almost all of the different eras of Ninjago. You have the original Masters of Spijitzu era, you've got the Oni trilogy, then you go into Adjective lists with the Wild Braid stuff, and then finally Dragon's Rising. And I'm really curious has the experience differed from, say, working on Adjective lists where it's 11 minutes and it's kind of a lighter tone? Does that change the way that you work on the sets at all in terms of the design, and then going into maybe something darker like Legends or Dragon's Rising?
No, I think the process has been quite similar with other constraints, of course, always. There is no, like our development has been quite consistent. What has changed is, of course, being more open to try more things. We always build on top of what already existed. Again, I voiced that a few days back when we had the other talk. Is why it makes up ease. I don't know. It comes, you prioritize stability. Then somebody comes with the idea, why don't we do it this way? Why don't we bring back using pistons for ankles like we did in Bionicle? And then somebody does it, and then we go on and embrace this and try to expand on it and try new ways of doing things. So it's looking back and saying, oh, we could have done it earlier, but the truth is, like everything, civilization, you have to build on previous things, and they might look simple after the fact, but the process is the process.
Absolutely. You got any questions?
Yes, I just want to ask, talking specifically about Ninjago Legends, because that's what you're here for. You did this amazing model right here. Internally, what made you feel like this was the time for this like older focused Ninjago line? Because Ninjago for a very long time has been like the kids theme, right? We've had the Ninjago cities and stuff, but it has been playsets. This is the first time where display really feels like the focus, and you have that 14 plus in the box indicating that, hey, we're aiming towards the older fans.
I think it's just a matter of, we always have it in mind. We know that people grow. We also want to approach people who outgrow the toy phase. It's not just Lego fans. It's people just kids on their early teens that they feel that calling something a toy is a little bit too childish. And we don't want to take the opportunity from them to actually engage with the Lego brick. Again, because most of you guys probably know, you keep building, you have that amazing exhibition inside where people of all ages do amazing stuff, and that is bringing people in that way of expression, I think. The timing came from, again, the Lee's idea of doing the Dragonstone Shrine. It was just the spark that was needed. It was always the will, there was always the care for it. And it just happened, and it opened up new opportunities, and we did the Cold Titan mech. And that showed that, oh, there is acceptance, there is a want for it, and let's do it. And that's how it comes. We get, as we said earlier, we get the feedback, and when we see that it fits, then we try to do the best we can.
That's great to hear, and I mean, yeah, it turned out amazing, and I'm excited for whatever the future of this line eventually may hold.
I think my dream Ninjago set, that could be a cool question for all of us to answer, but I think Ninjago Legends opens up so many ideas. Like, I would love to see, say, like a Ninjago Legends Great Devour.
I
imagine that wrapped around the building. That would be super cool. I mean, I'm so curious, Sean, like, is there a dream Ninjago set, especially with the 50th anniversary right around the corner? We're at the kind of towards a time where there are no leaks, there are no rumors. I don't think anybody knows what's actually coming,
Right.
so it's a perfect time to speculate. Is there a dream set that you
So
love
you
to see?
literally just said my number one pick is a show scale Great Devourer. We actually were talking about Firefighting earlier, which you designed. One of my favorite sets of all time because the original Great Devourer, I had a lot of fun with as a kid, but it was a lot more play-based and it didn't capture that scale that beast had in the show. So I would love to one day get that show-accurate Great Devourer that's just this huge serpent. And even if they did it in Legends, scrap and grab building, that would be really cool. Outside of that, it's a lot of classic stuff. One day, UCS bounty, like $500, massive, would be amazing. UCS Monastery as well. And a show-accurate Kai's Blacksmith shop, I think, would be really cool as well. Because that's the first location you ever see in the show, and even though we've not been there in a while, it is so iconic to Ninjago for me. Because that's the first time I watched the show. That's what I saw at 9 years old. So it's like ingrained in my mind. And I would love to see something like that one day.
I mean, if we're tossing around ideas, like, I think it's so cool how Cole's Titan mech has really pushed the boundary of what Ninjago mechs could be. I know everyone wants a Kai's Titan mech. I'm sure it's going to happen at some point, but honestly, I'd love to see even like a remake of Lloyd's Titan mech because that was the first one that started it all, and it was kind of a more play scale type of thing. It's a really great set, but I'm just imagining what could that look like nowadays. So just all sorts of really cool things, especially as we gear up for the 15th anniversary. I guess as you as a designer, I'm kind of curious, instead of a dream set, is there one set that you've worked on that, I know it's hard to pick a favorite, but is there one really special set for you that means a lot to you, that is really exciting, that you love working on?
I think I mentioned it earlier. I think this dragon, of course,
Yeah.
And not because of the scale, it's just because I freaking like it. But I would say that the Wood Battle Dragon is the core of a toy, of like it's me in bricks. That I would say it's just simply, it doesn't need to be big, it doesn't need to be fancy. It just needs to have character, and I think that's hands down. That's my pick.
Awesome. Well, we'll be taking questions from the audience pretty soon, so we'll wrap up with just the last few here. Sean, anything else you wanted to ask Stevie, or anything else you wanted to say or talk about?
I don't know if I have anything. We've been talking a lot these past few days, and I'll let you know if something comes soon, but if you have anything last year, we also have
honestly, yeah.
Away if you want to do that.
I think it's, probably perfect timing to wrap up. Now, these sealed sets here are actually not just for show. A couple lucky people in the audience will be walking away with some of these items. Now, the thing is, there are two minifigures, a Wildfire and a Sora. If you look underneath your seats, there might be a minifigure taped under your seat, and somebody might not be there, so check the seats around you as well.
I also hit a few baby riders on the seats. If you got that, you need it.
I'm now very curious. You got one?
Nope.
Yeah, now I'm quite curious. So it wasn't directly under anybody's seat. It's under.
We got one.
You got one? Okay, so that's Sora?
That's Sora.
Come on up. You got another one here? All right, so if you got Wildfire, you of course get the Fire Knight mech, because it is fire themed. It has been signed by the designer, so congratulations. Got Sora, you get a sealed copy of the Aaron mech, which actually doesn't release in the US until August, so that's kind of an early copy for you to enjoy. So, if you enjoy it, good on you. Thanks for being here. Enjoy. Of course. Okay, well now at this point, we are going to invite questions from the audience. You can come on up to the center row here. You can line up, ask any questions to Dimi, to me, to Sean. Anything you want to ask, just make a line here and we'll jump in. Right.
Yeah. Hello, that's it. Is it on?
I think so.
Okay. This isn't a question, it's just feedback. For the 15th anniversary, can we please have a Ninjago Advent calendar?
Yes! Thank you. Thank you. I'd like to see that. Oh, we got Harumi here, back from the dead.
I think it's amazing all the work you've done throughout the years. It's definitely shown from when you started to all the way up until now. but it's actually my dream to become a LEGO designer, and it's so great that I actually get to talk to you about it because I'm about to enter my final year of high school, and I don't know what to study to get where you are. Like, I want to know, like, what kind of things did you study? How'd you get into the LEGO Corporation? Because there's so many amazing mock builders here, but none of them actually like tried to work with LEGO. So I'm wondering, what did you do differently?
The special case with me, semi-special case with me, is that I didn't plan on this. It was a turn of my life. I think there'll be some interviews and you'll find out. But I went there because I needed to do, as my brother said when he started this, he told me, find what you want to do every day, what would make you happy to do every day. And that's when, after 13 years or 15 years without touching bricks, I was like, that's it, like LEGO, what are they up to, what are they doing? Let's go to the site and see what positions they have available. I did study industrial design and engineering, but that was just because the subject of having a multidiscipline education just spoke to me. I like knowledge, I like engineering, I have an expression because I draw and all this stuff, so it just felt natural. And I didn't want to go into architecture like my family because I just don't enjoy the process of making the buildings. The most important thing is to find what you really are passionate about. LEGO can always be a hobby. We have colleagues who started as teachers, and they were just AFOLs, and they at some point decided that I want to do this in my life, and found their way through to get there. So you should find what you are passionate about, get all the learnings from it. You could be a teacher and learn about education, and then you can go into LEGO because you know about kids. That's the important part, and how to engage with kids and how to approach kids. So don't feel too confined on, I have to follow this path. Having an engineering design degree helps because you get knowledge on aesthetics, especially if it's more industrial and less art, you can also figure out what a product is and how sometimes you have to put your personal expression, what you feel is the best, down because the product needs something else from you. So just do it. Just build with Lego bricks and see where it goes.
LEGO is seriously my passion. I would love to do that in my future. It's one of the things that brings me joy, even on the hardest days. Sometimes all I need is just take a quiet minute and just pop open a new set, or even get creative. That's the beauty of it.
Exactly.
Thank you so much.
Well said. Good question.
Do you know if the run to the Master Dragon was designed before the show, or was this show model designed first?
I will not answer this one.
Can you tell me after? Nice outfit, by the way. That's cool.
This is for all three of you, actually, and it's kind of a loaded question, so I'll try to articulate it the best that I can. But in your opinion, and strictly like opinion-based, not like objective or anything, is Thunderfang the scariest Ninjago creature out there?
I hope so.
He's really scary, dude. He's really, really scary.
What do you think?
Thunderfang is the scariest guy I've ever seen.
Thank you.
Hello. Ninjago is a huge world filled with dragons, monsters, mechs, and characters of all kinds. What's your favorite aspect of the Ninjago series, and why so?
Aspect of Ninjago. I think the fantasy of it. I love fantasy. I'm a sword nerd. I'm a dragon nerd. Everything that Ninjago expresses, from the camaraderie of the characters to the action to the elemental parts, like there's nothing that is not to the core speaking to me. And that's why I'm so long here, and I hope to continue and be engaged with the storytelling and be engaged with the TV show beyond just doing the models, because it's me.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
So I was at the premiere on Thursday, and prior I'd seen the set, but it didn't have a story. And once it had a story, it elevated its presence in my mind and my heart. So to me, LEGO is about storytelling. That's how I build, and I think a lot of us build. Is it a constraint, or is it hopeful that you get to work on a line that has 15 years of a story?
It's not a constraint because, lucky for us, we develop the story, we tell the story, we think everything around it. There's nobody else dictating what it can be or what it should be. We make it happen, and that's the awesome. Like you can see it on the Fire Knight make. The choice for the beast was a compositional thing, but which had story to it, and that got picked up then and turned into the animation. So it's like a huge privilege to be able to express storytelling.
Thank you.
Is there going to be a 10th ninja?
10th Ninja? Did I hear it right? I
Maybe
don't
any
know.
new characters you can tease?
No, but we already have too many. But you never know what comes
We're at
next.
11 right now, aren't we? With Ryu and Frag. That's
Kai J,
11.
Zane, Cole, Lloyd, Nia, Aaron, Sora, Ryu, Wildfire,
Frack. That's
Euphrasia maybe counts.
Yeah. 11 or 12,
So I
right?
guess there is, yes. Thank you. Nice shirt.
Ninjago's come a long way, and the sets have changed a lot. But do you ever have inspiration from the older sets?
We of course did with the Legacy line. We also get a lot of learnings from older sets. So even if there's no direct inspiration, sometimes there is a function that might be cool that was executed in the past and we can do again or improve again. Generally, I think it's as a living and long-standing theme, it has a lot of, like we use references of older stuff all the time. It's an organic thing that, of course, it needs the past to go to the future.
Is there a good chance for a standalone frac set sometime?
Please.
I don't know. It's difficult, but we hope so because there's characters we want to serve.
Awesome, thank you.
This might be a question that a lot of Ninjago fans are asking, but will there be more elemental masters that the ninja have to fight or make amends with?
I hope so. The Elemental Master is a big part of what Ninjago is, and we definitely try to expand on it.
I think that is about enough time for questions, but obviously you can come up and find Dimi at the end. I know we gotta wrap up here.
Before we wrap up,
Yes.
I have something for you. One more, and that's all I'm gonna say.
The teaser for next year. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed the Ninjago panel and enjoy Brickworld. Thank you.